Hello, Buckeye Nation. Welcome to week 4. Ohio State is playing Maryland this Saturday at Maryland Stadium starting at 3:30 p.m. Let's get pumped. Welcome to Buckeye Football Fangirl, where it is my goal to get you pumped for the game this Saturday. If you enjoy these videos, please support me by subscribing to this channel and following me on Twitter. I'll link my Twitter in the show notes below. Buckeye Nation, we made it to week 4. Can you believe it? And what a weekend of football we had last Saturday. Ohio State beat Rutgers, woo woo! And this is one of my favorite moments of that game.
Olave, 2 touchdowns last week against Penn State, and a smile at the end. He's got 2 more here tonight.
Hands down, Olave is one of my favorite players on the team this year. And he continued just being electric during that Rutgers game. What was your favorite moment? Leave me a comment in the comment section below, as I would love to hear what you liked about the game last weekend. We've all been talking about it. The first half of that game was great, and the Buckeyes showed true dominance on the field. But the second half of that game felt more like a plod, and we had to keep the starters in all 4 quarters, which wasn't great. It's definitely not ideal, but hey, a win is a win, especially this year. And I have to say, there still wasn't a point during the game when I felt like Ohio State might actually lose it. So that's still a big win in my book. Elsewhere last Saturday, TTUN lost to Indiana, Clemson lost to Notre Dame, and Penn State lost to Maryland. Wait, what? Penn State lost to Maryland? Wow, that was unexpected. I watched part of that game on Saturday in shock as to what was going on. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually not really sure how I'm feeling coming into this game on Saturday. I mean, I'm excited because I'm always excited to see Ohio State play football. But there's a teeny tiny part of me that feels just a little nervous after seeing what Maryland did to Penn State. Admittedly, before last weekend, like most of you, I was considering this game against Maryland on Saturday as a bye week for Ohio State. I mean, before last week, since 2015, Maryland was 0-15 against the Buckeyes, Penn State, and TTUN combined. On average, Maryland has allowed a whopping 59.6 points to the Buckeyes per game since 2015. But man, seeing what they did to Penn State last weekend, it's got me feeling a little eerie. I mean, it's been a weird 2020. I know. Ohio State has weapons upon weapons to use on the field, but I feel like I need a little reassurance after last week. For those of you who don't feel that little bit of nervousness that I feel, please leave me a comment in the comment section below so I can freak out a little less. Alright, I like to do this every show. Let's take a look at the team we're up against on Saturday. We're playing the Maryland Terrapins. And if you're like me and we're wondering what is a terrapin is a small little freshwater turtle. Just like Rutgers, we played Maryland a total of 6 times before, and Ohio State has won all 6 of those games. We last played Maryland last year on November 9th, 2019. And we won 73-14. So who's on the other team? Who do you need to know? Like usual, let's start with the head coach. Maryland's head coach is Mike Locksley. He's been the head coach of the Terrapins since 2019, though he has had a previous stint as interim head coach of Maryland in 2015 after Randy Edsall was relieved of his duties. Coach Locksley, or as his players call him, Coach Locks, previously served as the offensive coordinator at the University of Alabama when Tua was the quarterback. First year as head coach of Maryland was a bit unremarkable, and Maryland fans were understandably not very happy with him after their season opening loss to Northwestern. However, after Maryland beat Minnesota in week 2 during overtime by a score of 45-44, things started to look up for Maryland. And then they upset Penn State last week, and honestly, Penn State just couldn't keep up with them. So now Maryland fans are jumping back on his bandwagon. The next person to note is the starting quarterback for Maryland, Taulia Tagovailoa. He's a sophomore quarterback. I'm only going to say this once, but he is the younger brother of Tua, and unfortunately, he will always be compared to him. And Taulia, I feel for you, because I'm a middle child myself, and I had to grow up in the shadow of my older siblings. Interestingly, Taulia originally played center in high school, and then he transitioned to quarterback. Taulia also started his collegiate career at the University of Alabama, but he transferred out of the school after not getting a chance to compete this year for the starting quarterback position. Taulia and his family both really trust Coach Locks. which played a big role in his decision to transfer to Maryland out of all the schools he could have gone to. His mom in particular feels like the decision that they made for him to transfer to Maryland was not really even a 4-year decision, but a 40-year decision, and they chose Maryland based off of that. Talia is a pass-first quarterback with an extremely accurate arm. However, he can also make some pretty impressive gains on his feet when he needs to. Unfortunately for us, he really seems to be hitting his stride this season, especially during that game against Penn State. If we look back through the numbers, Maryland only scored 3 points during week 1. However, Talia had 394 yards during the game against Minnesota, and he had 282 yards during the game against Penn State last week. Those are some pretty impressive numbers, and I think it's going to make the game much more interesting this Saturday. Another person you should know is Jake Funk, a senior running back. Interestingly about Jake, he actually came out of high school as a safety, not a running back. And Jake comes into this season after battling 2 ACL tears that caused him to miss the previous 2 seasons. Now, Jake is fast, and he's been described by some as a runaway freight train. He ran for 221 yards during the Minnesota game, and he's said to be a veteran in the backfield who does a great job keeping the team level-headed. Another player to note is Nick Cross, sophomore safety. Nick is known for flying around the field, and he's been described as a classic tackling machine middle linebacker. He had a heck of a game last week against Penn State as he continuously shut down Penn State's passing game, and he recorded 8 tackles, 1 sack, and a forced fumble. Another player to note is Rakeem Jarrett, a true freshman wide receiver. Rakeem is the 247 Sports True Freshman of the Week, and he actually flipped his commit from LSU to Maryland on early signing day. He's got some crazy hands. And by that, I mean he's known for having really strong hands at the catch point and also for running some very creative routes. He's been said to be one of the most exciting, explosive players on the Maryland team, whether he is finding a way to catch the ball one-handed or jumping over defenders. And during the Penn State game, he caught 5 passes for a total of 144 yards, scoring a pair of touchdowns. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this, and nobody predicted this at the beginning of the season, but I think it might be a better game this Saturday than a lot of people predicted. I can't believe I'm saying this. I literally can't believe I'm saying this. Look, I know we have a stacked team, and ultimately I do think Ohio State's talent will win out, but seeing the clips from Maryland's past 2 games, they've just got something going on. So I think that there's going to be a lot of quarterback action this game and a lot of ball slinging across the field. All things in consideration though, if I were a betting person, because I'm really not, I would still put my money on the Buckeyes, mostly because of Fields. When it comes down to comparing the 2 quarterbacks, Fields still stands out head and shoulders above Tagovailoa. I know, this probably makes me sound like even more of a homer because I am one, but Fields has just been so freaking good this year. I mean, 72 of 83 passes, that's an 86.7% completion rate for 908 yards and 11 passing touchdowns with 0 interceptions through 3 games. Plus, you've got to add on 2 rushing scores. What an impressive resume. And I know everyone is talking about this, but I can't fail to mention that he has just as many touchdowns as he has incomplete passes. That's not interceptions, that's incomplete passes. A lot of which have just been catchable, but may have just not been pulled in by the receivers. It's insanity. Oh man, those numbers are insane, guys. And we get to witness this each and every Saturday as our Buckeyes take the field. So I am soaking it up, and I hope that you are too, and not taking this for granted. Now let's take a look at what's going on in the Twitter sphere. I love hearing what you guys are saying. And so if you have a tweet about one of the Buckeyes' upcoming games, please tag me and I can include the tweet in the show. I would love to hear from you. Whether you are just excited about the game, or you have a score prediction for me, or you just want to talk about what happened during one of the previous games. I am paying attention to what's going on in Twitter. So if you tag me, I'll see it. James says, this whole college football season has been weird, just like this game. Ohio State got the win, and that's what matters. And Ryan Day will have a lot of things to work on during practice this week. I agree, James. That game was so weird. Ohio State was so dominant in that first half. In the second half, it was just like, what happened? But I mean, it's 2020. What else can we say? It's been a weird year. Ibris says, breaking. Ohio State is really good at football. Woo! Yes. It's so fun to watch them play. I love this one from Sunny Donch. Dream team. Wilson, Fields, and Olave. I love this. That is my dream team too, Sunny. Man, if I could choose any 3 players and only 3 players, that's my dream team too. At Golden Goulding, Ohio State, Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers, Michigan State, TTUN, Penn State is the weirdest year-over-year change I've ever seen in college football. We knew there would be 3 levels on the East, but this definitely wasn't it. I agree. What a weird year. I don't think anybody predicted this, and I don't think anybody could have predicted this. Timothy J. Runyon says, is it weird that I think the Buckeyes' toughest games are the next 2 games against Maryland and Indiana? I guess it is 2020, so... And I agree. We just never know what's coming next for 2020. Jonathan Love says, Ohio State versus Maryland is going to be a huge game next weekend. Justin Fields versus Talia Tagovailoa is probably the best quarterback battle the Big Ten has seen in quite a while. CFB Unleashed tweeted, early spread from Vegas for Ohio State at Maryland is -27. Thoughts? To which James Sanford replied, Maryland covers, but Ohio still wins easily. Drew Warner, T. OSU 3-0. Spread is now OSU by 25. I think Ohio State will win, but won't cover. Score prediction, Ohio State 48. Maryland 28. We will see. Tyler thinks this game is going to be a shootout. Ohio State will win, but it will be a shootout. Ohio State 52, Maryland 35. Joe Stevenson says, even as a Terp, Fields makes the throws that Clifford missed. 42-24 OSU. Terps show out though. I think there's something to this tweet. Comparing Fields to Clifford, I do think that Fields would have made those passes Clifford missed last week, but I also think the Terps will show out. David Maher says, Maryland has played very well offensively, but Ohio State has too much firepower on offense for Maryland to keep up. Terps are having a great season, but Ohio State is just too good, and that's our Buckeyes. I love reading through those tweets about the game. They just get me so pumped. So let's soak it up this weekend. This weekend, I am stoked, as I usually am, to see these crazy playmakers take the field again. I'm a believer that the toughest opponent the Buckeyes will face this regular season is truly COVID. And so far, we've been 3-0 against it. Knock on wood. I think that's been the Buckeyes' biggest win so far, and I pray that it continues that way as the Buckeye players, coaches, and staff members continue to be vigilant. And I would encourage you also to please be vigilant and mask up, and let's enjoy this next week of the Buckeyes getting to play football. Some people are saying that this game might actually end up being the biggest test on the Buckeyes regular season. We won't really know until the game is over, but it should be a good game. And as we get ready for Saturday, please subscribe to this channel to support me and follow me on Twitter at BuckeyeFBFangirl. I'll see you guys on the other side of this game. OH.
Buckeye!